Premium high-end performance flagship smartphones always come and have continued to grow when it comes to price, and they're always expensive. And by expensive, I'm talking over £1,000, euros, or dollars. So essentially this eliminates a huge chunk of market, and that's why sometimes you see makers like Xiaomi, Samsung, Apple release devices like the iPhone SE, for example, which will be getting a refresh soon, at that sort of £450 to £600 range. But then a lot of the times you miss out on things like an OLED panel, or you'll miss out on high performance cameras. There'll always be something you're missing out on. Today's phone though, the Xiaomi 14T Pro, however, seems to somehow try and bridge that gap. And let's talk about some of the key features that make this sub $700 euro or pound smartphone a bit eye-catching. So you get 8K max output in video at 24 frames per second, 5000 mAh battery, 144 Hz refresh rate, that is LTPO, so it goes down from 1 all the way up to 144 Hz, which is sick. And you get wired charging at 120 watts and wireless charging at 50 watts. So those are some of the key headlines features. Actually, let's give you one more. 68 billion color AMOLED display. Yes, those are some crazy specs, but there's a lot going on underneath the Xiaomi 14T Pro that makes it a bit of an eye-opener and kind of makes you wonder why you'd pay £1,000 or more for a flagship smartphone when you can get a 14T Pro for a lot less. Now, the 14T Pro, in this review, we're going to give you an understanding of what it is and how it performs. But the question we're going to ask is it any good? Let's find out. Before we get into the crux of the review for the Xiaomi 14T Pro, we wanted to divert your attention for a quick rundown of some of the clothing we're actually currently wearing in this review. So this black hoodie with this curved hem is actually from a company called Firebox. Now, this all activewear is perfectly in line for things like autumn and winter. So this will keep you nice and warm, but also it's super comfortable and lightweight, so it's not too heavy if you're going for a run or you want to casually throw some stuff on because you want to go to the shops to get a quick shopping. Sick. Now, a couple of items that we got sent as well as this plain classic black hoodie were a pair of black faded jeans, which are incredibly comfortable, super stretchy, and to be honest, they look pretty sick. They feel incredible as soon as you put them on as well. And then let's talk about this green activewear top. Essentially what you get here is a classic blend between something that's smart casual and something that you could literally go out with. And it even has velvet on its elbows, and I don't care what anyone says, that looks sick. The whole lot of it though is super comfortable, really high end, and looks amazing. The good thing for you though, as viewers of this video, is if you actually click the link in description, where we will actually put the sizes that we're wearing and with our height to give you an idea as to what that looks like if you're looking to buy stuff. If you go to the website via Firebox, you can actually see there's a number of promotions on at the moment where you can benefit from a sale on any of the items we've shown you today. So check out that link in description. What actually powers the Xiaomi 14T Pro is actually a MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus processor. Now, traditionally, MediaTek has kind of sort of almost been sort of the mid to low end, associated with the mid to low end in terms of processors, but the 9300 Plus actually performs very well. In fact, if you run it through some benchmarks that we have on Geekbench for CPU and GPU, you can see by the results that it actually sits just below the S24 series. Now, I believe this S24 series is the international version, which does kind of tell you how close this is to being a flagship processor. Granted, it isn't, but it's pretty close. If we move off from there and go to things like gaming, run a couple of gaming examples here, and to be fair, they run really well. There's no slowdown, there's no judders. These aren't high performing games or graphically intense games, I should say, but what they do offer is a pretty seamless gaming experience. So you can go from your basic viral sort of casual shooter game straight over to things like Spider-Man, and they both perform reasonably well. Graphically, they look good. The heat management as well, let's quickly touch on that, actually is pretty good as well. You don't get any real issues when it comes to things like slowdowns, etc. So it's performing as you'd expect for a high-end processor. Is it going to get you the ray tracing graphics of something like an A18 processor? Probably not. If we move across to things like HyperOS on the 144 Hz panel, this is super smooth. The experience, as you'd expect, is excellent. No issue at all between switching to applications, browsing the web, checking your emails, all the stuff that you'd associate with your daily use or what you're going to naturally use on your phone, like social media, etc. All of that runs incredibly well. Page to zoom on things like, for example, Google Maps, as an example, no issue at all. Does not slow down. Now, the reason we've run some of these tests is to kind of emphasize that the Dimensity 9300 Plus processor is actually a really high-end, top-performing processor. So if you're looking to get something like the Xiaomi 14T Pro, you don't feel like you're compromising on that processor front. So let's give you the rundown of the spec on the rear of the phone, and actually the front as well, and those are its cameras. So you get a 50 megapixel wide at f1.6, 50 megapixel telephoto at f2.0, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide at f2.2. And then the front facing camera is a 32 megapixel f2.0. So spec wise, it's madness. Like we said earlier, 8K at 24 frames. Now, there is something called a master cinema mode and a non-master cinema mode. To be able to get 8K 24, you cannot have it in master cinema mode for whatever reason. Also, as we're scrolling through these imageries and these videos, everything here is shot in Leica Authentic. That's just what has come out of the box. No amendments, no adjustments in things like filters or beauty modes, etc. It's just as it is. And honestly, the performance of the Xiaomi 14T Pro's cameras are excellent. Very good. I would say mainly the highlight are the 3 rear cameras over the front. The front is kind of here nor there when it comes to selfies, but the rear in terms of night photography, general photography, and videos especially is sick. Excellent quality. Don't really have much in the way of any artifacting around the edges when it comes to the ultra wide modes, and generally speaking, the performance of the cameras are very good. When you move over to things like video, again, this isn't going to be something that creates those incredible HDR style videos that you get on an iPhone, for example, or even like a Samsung, but it has its own sort of unique style where it does add some extra bit of contrast and a bit of extra vibrancy. So that is kind of a rundown of the cameras. Personally, didn't have much of an issue. Only, we would say, is the front-facing selfies aren't that great. What are our final thoughts, conclusions, summations on the Xiaomi 14T Pro? And let's start off with things that we think are a bit of a miss on Xiaomi's front. So they've supplied you with a phone that can achieve 120 watts of wired charging and 50 watts of wireless charging. However, there is no brick in the box. So to achieve the 120 watts, you're going to have to actually source the power brick itself. Yes, Xiaomi do sell it, which is great, but that's another additional cost. Granted, it's less than $40 or pounds. It's not a huge amount of money, but again, if they're pushing something like 120 watts of wired charging, why not supply it, or at least offer it as an early bird promotional offer, which unfortunately it doesn't. The only other downside I would say though is that front-facing selfie camera isn't the best or the most detailed. It's overly aggressive in things like portrait mode, and then generally it doesn't deliver the best quality as a whole. But besides that, plus points: design, build, fit, feel, finish, looks are massively underrated. This is a very good looking phone. Front, rear, sides, back, it looks great and is nice to hold in a hand, although a bit slippery. Overall though, you get 4 years of software updates, 5 years of security updates as well, just throw that in there as well. So that 650 odd pounds, dollars or euros that you're gonna spend on the 14T Pro will actually last you a lot longer than maybe something that costs the same amount, but won't offer as much support. So overall, the Xiaomi 14T Pro is a massive win. Strong device, great processor, love the screen and the display, especially things like video output as well. We'll throw a quick sample in here to show you what video output looks like as well. And generally, as a whole, the phone has been an incredibly positive experience. It's definitely one to recommend towards the end of the year, that if you're looking to change, you've seen the newest iPhones, you've seen what Samsung got to offer throughout the year, and you're looking to change your smartphone right up before Christmas, or even you're buying some a Christmas present, maybe something like the Xiaomi 14T Pro could be the right phone for you. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, as always, we out.